And we are live. Welcome everyone who isn't in the chat just yet and will come up any moment now. We are going to discuss something that, well, I mean, it was in the Washington Post, so it's absolutely an important thing and it's relatively fresh and all that. I'm going to use the right edition, which is a publication, Views and News with Attitude, talking about this heinous of most heinous things. Women are being oppressed by a bag of Doritos. We must rise up against this injustice. And now I have to share my screen.
Modwain, you don't understand. I actually told 2 or 3 people about this earlier, and right. I'm pretty sure if they could have gave me a look, they would have looked at me as though I just farted in one of those ways where it goes high pitched at the end, so it sounds like the fart is a question.
Yeah, well,
that kind of look.
I asked Short Story whether she liked eating crisps, and she was also like, "Yeah, are you sure?" She like, okay, there must be a gotcha coming, and I have no clue what the fuck is going on. No, yeah, okay, I eat chips, but doesn't it make too much sound?
So like I'm 50% certain this is like a native advertisement for Doritos.
Crunchy food, not supposed to be crunchy. God damn it!
Anyway, but so Doritos is oppressing women. Let's get going with this.
Just somebody answer me. Fucking how?
Well, because he dirties the fitness.
Because we are women. We can be oppressed by everything and everyone.
So wait a minute. So Captain Crunch is not supposed to be crunchy when women are involved. Is that the problem?
Well,
apparently,
women and men are exactly the same. This is what
it's kind of in the name. Captain Crunch is supposed to be crunchy.
Yeah, but no. Listen, women and men are exactly the same, except for the fact that men are toxic pigs. Oh yeah, yes. and rapists, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, we're completely the same, but we're not. And this is also the problem when it comes to eating chips. Cries of pain and sadness could be heard across the country yesterday when Doritos announced it would be making chips designed to appeal more to women.
We don't give a fuck. Hold up. Where did we get the cries of pain and sadness? I'm trying to figure that one out too.
We'll get to that one. We will.
Okay.
PepsiCo's global chief Indra Nooyi, which Indra is an Indian female name, isn't it?
It is. She's a woman.
Could be.
Yeah, she's a woman.
No, she is.
Okay. There we go. She's a woman.
How dare you shitlords assume her gender?
No.
I read it in Cosmo. She was referred to as she.
Yeah.
Oh.
One of history's greatest monsters and a traitor to her gender. I wonder what gender that is. I mean, it can't be women or a woman or male, a man. So it must be.
She is a traitor to the Zur.
It's a space flight Tesla. That's the new gender.
Well, is it her gender Doritos chips?
Could be as well, yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, one of history's greatest monsters and traitors to her gender said that women typically dislike their product because it's too loud and too messy. The new Lady Doritos are, as the internet start calling them, would hopefully address that problem by being less crunchy and coated in less of the neo-orange powder that, for the sake of argument, we will call cheese. I like this article already.
Modwain, I'm taken back to a time when some lady got naked and sat in a bathtub full of Doritos, and as nice as that was, I think the biggest question on everybody's mind was how she's going to get the cheese dust out of her, and I quote, skiddly boo.
But I mean, the funniest thing about the highlighted text, I still think, is this. So they would address this by making the chips or the Doritos less crunchy. So it will be more rubbery or something? I don't know.
Well,
How
look,
do you
I'm
make
the
sorry.
point?
If I walked away from a big heaping bowl of Captain Crunch without the satisfaction of the crunchy cereal and the lacerations all across the roof of my mouth, everybody who's had Captain Crunch knows exactly what I'm talking about. If I didn't have that, I would have felt like I didn't accomplish anything.
New Doritos Moosh.
I mean, you have banana chips as well, which are basically just dried banana. They're not crunchy.
Well, those are fucking yeah, they are, but they're fucking awesome too.
Oh no, the ones that I had weren't crunchy.
Well, the banana chips I get are dry enough that when you bite them, they crunch.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, yes.
Well, then they're not good for women.
The thing is, though, that you don't understand. First of all, men are pissing us off just by their existence, and then you fucking sit and eat the crunchy chips. So I want you to be as quiet as possible. And if you pigs would just get the vacuum cleaner once in a while, you would understand why we don't like it, because it's messy.
We got a little bit of echo. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's because she put her microphone on and she's sitting next to me.
Well, but that's the whole problem is, you know, I hate to say this, but if I eat popcorn, I'm the one who has to clean up the mess, so I don't see the problem there.
Yeah. Well,
it's a calculated risk, if you will.
Yeah, in a way it is.
Yes.
But
yes.
Let's continue with the article. Let's continue with the article. News of this injustice spread rapidly. Feminists and feminist allies, like myself, but I doubt he is a feminist ally, to be honest, explode in outrage and fury. And
I wish they would.
Literally, yes.
You mean explode?
Literally.
Yes.
Literally explode. Boof, problem solved. It was decided that the chips are not only in bad taste, well, obviously, if you make crunchy chips soggy, because that's what they're talking about.
In bad taste. Wah, 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 wah.
It's in bad taste because you're making a product specifically designed for women.
Well, that too. Wait a second.
Hold up, but isn't that what tampons are for?
Well, yeah, that too.
And bras. And bras.
Hey, men can wear tampons. It just doesn't help.
And I have a friend who was talking about how he was making a bra for his, how do you call it? His hobart, his chainmail.
The Cosmo article definitely got onto it being a Trojan horse for the pink tax.
A Trojan horse, huh?
Trojan horse.
Because they're going to put them in smaller bags but charge the same, and therefore women are going to be exploited once more.
Oh, so
the bags are going to be full of the bags are going to be full of tiny Greek people with swords and armor.
Well, no, I was going to say if they're going to go, if they're going to come in smaller bags, does that mean that they're not going to get half a bag of air like everybody else?
Yeah. But I never understood this, and I mean, Jordan Peterson said it really, really great in that interview at Channel 4. Yeah, but pink helmets are more expensive than blue helmets. Then why the fuck aren't you buying a blue helmet? I mean,
well, no, because it's all pussy pink and pretty and whatever other fuckball excuse. Just buy the fucking blue helmet. Be done with it.
It's even worse, though. I mean, pink used to be the color of boys, not of women. Never mind that. Feminism is fun.
I don't know. Why is it more expensive? Does it cost more to dye a product pink?
No, it's just that women will buy that shit.
Women pay more.
Women and probably gays as well.
Probably.
No.
One moment. My
psychology.
I wonder why
colors.
It's like you have a, let's give an example, €50, and you're not going to buy leather shoes for a woman, most likely. You're going to buy a leather shoes for a man. Why? Because women just going to buy whatever shit is there on the market as long as someone is telling them that it's fashionable this year. So that's the thing. Men is not going to put up with this shit.
No,
Well,
about
but
colors.
see that. Well, Carlos, before you say that, let me say this right quick. men usually don't give a fuck about fashionable. They give a fuck about functional. That's all.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was just going to say,
soy boys.
There is a psychology behind colors, because certain colors can elicit certain moods or responses in humans, and that's facts. For example, red, the color red if I can remember correctly, elicits more, let's say, excitement. You could almost say rage, etc. While a color like pastels doesn't have to be pink; they are more soothing, and etc. I am very basic in that the psychology of colors, because in decades since
I've heard that too much yellow can cause people, especially children, to become anxious.
For example, yes, absolutely, yes.
Well, so then how accurate is the spectrum of the Green Lantern Corps, the different ones?
I wouldn't have a clue. That part I don't know.
Well, no, it's actually pretty simple. They have like all the rainbow colors. Yellow is fear, blue is hope, green is willpower, red is anger, blah blah, stinking blah.
But,
Well, green is normally a color of that. I think it makes people feel tranquil. Isn't that right? It has a tranquilizing effect. So does blue.
Humans and primates can actually perceive more shades of green than any other color. That is a fact.
Yeah, and I've always kind of wondered about that.
Night vision goggles are green.
Yeah, that's why night vision goggles are green. It's also why well, I don't know if this is related, but mirrors are also green. The color of a mirror is green as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
if you I was going to say, if you can catch a look at a mirror kind of from an angle, you can tell there's green in it.
Yep.
Ow.
The material that a mirror is made out of is green.
It's our biology.
It's just incredibly reflective, so it's difficult to tell.
Yeah. By the way, Ramblings, I made an error. I dropped the link to the Hangout in the Sequitur channel again. Sorry, mate. So if you want to join in, you can. Obviously. Don't have to.
Of course you can.
Anyway,
Modwain, I think at some point I'm going to have to teach you how to use OBS, because that way you can just call the Skype group and present whatever you want to without having to do all that weird shit.
Yeah, I might need to take some classes in how to use social media here and there. I know.
Well, I tell you what, Modwain. At some point I'll tell you how I was told to use OBS. All you have to do is just call everybody up on Skype, and it captures the audio perfectly. You don't have to worry about Hangout links.
Oh, that's also a way that. But Skype uses more computer resources, doesn't it?
No, not really, because if you watch that last Watch Magnus Suck at Video Games, me and Batman were talking on Skype, and I didn't have to hook it up. It just automatically captures desktop audio.
Okay. Well, not for now, for later. Let's continue with the article, though. But you wanted to say something?
I was just going to say, let's continue with the article.
Yeah, let's continue with the article. News of this injustice spread rapidly. Feminists and feminist allies like myself, which isn't true, but never mind. No, I already read this part. Doritos is engaged in a conspiracy to silence women. As the Washington Post put it, Dorito is sending the message that you should never hear a woman crunch. And you think that's stupid, but they actually have that article. Doritos is developing a lady-friendly chips because you should never hear a woman crunch.
Well, who fucking says?
I don't know. They do. But I'm like,
are we allowed to hear a woman fart?
Nope. That's been a rule since time immemorial. Women aren't allowed to fart around men.
I mean, I mean those huge. That you can hear them.
I don't know. There are some online communities in which that's being challenged.
I like it. According to nobody, this is fake, and I'm willing to believe you, nobody. I really am. But this is the Washington Post. They did post this.
Well, you know what? I tell you what.
It's fake.
I tell you what, Modwain. If they actually come out with those, I will get a bag just to try them, and see just how much of a letdown they actually are.
Well, I mean, they don't. Yeah, I haven't seen the mundane video ramblings, but I mean,
I can't get very those flavors here in Portugal. What the fuck?
Nacho cheese. Nacho cheese you can have everywhere. Actually, you can have
no. We have
them in the Netherlands.
Cheese, but not nacho, just cheese. Cool Ranch, salsa verde. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Cool Ranch isn't that nice though.
No. But get back to the stream.
Anyway, yeah, sorry. No, I'm going to respond to ramblings a little bit because I'm not sure if this is fake news, considering the fact that this is, if nothing else, a Washington Post article.
However, Modwain, the news is out today that Doritos, Pepsi are they're denying the female-friendly aspect of it.
Well, yeah, I would do that too. I mean,
and to be honest, why would you market a new product at only half the population?
Well, that's true too. And I mean, this is a tweet from someone. Basically, wait a second, we're going up a little bit. PepsiCo did not immediately respond to business. Surely we are being trolled with this no crunch chips news. I refuse to believe otherwise. And in all fairness, I can understand Aaron Griffith in this because it is, if nothing else, insanely insane. I never used that word before.
Yeah, but Modwain, to be fair, is there a level of ridiculous that we've never heard out of feminism before? I mean, let's be honest.
Thing, that's the problem I'm having with it. I mean, it is an official article from the Washington Post. This is Channel 8 local news, which basically we can forget. And this one is also something we can forget. But the Washington Post fell for it too. If it is indeed fake news. And I wonder whether it really is. Because if we look at, not too long ago, they had, I forgot it. There was this I forgot. It was a food product as well. And it was specifically tailored to women. But the women didn't really want it. It was never something people went for. This is the soft chips. I mean, who the fuck thinks up stuff like that?
Well, the kind of people who... Well, Modwain, I can tell you exactly who thinks that shit up. It's people who are too wussy to eat the food as is, but they don't want to give away the, oh, well, it's for pussies like me, so we'll blame it on women. We'll say it's woman-friendly.
Well, nobody sent me this link.
That sounds wildly off.
Well, I've just searched, Mod.
Go on.
I've just searched and I've got the New York Post, Newsweek. They're all covering it. So if it's fake news, there's a lot of idiots.
Yeah, well, I really don't believe
it might just
there
be
are a lot of idiots.
It might just be an advertisement for Doritos.
That's what
that could be true. Like, that could be true. I mean, but I can't believe it's fake news. What it could be an advertisement, obviously, but what could also be true is that they wanted to do this, but they might not go into it now because they're getting so much backlash over it.
Tucker Carlson, I posted the link to a video. Tucker Carlson from a type of an alt-right site, but basically interviews the resident feminist that he has on, which I talked about it before the stream started, that I think she's an actress and she's just there to, you know. And if you guys want to have a look at it, I can play it, or Modwain if he has.
Yeah, no, can do. I first I have to respond to Square Peg.
Yeah,
I have to respond. Does this have to do with feminists not preferring hard things? For fuck's sake. It didn't take you long to bring it onto that, didn't you, Square?
They don't really. He's got a point. They don't really like things rigid. They like them kind of soft, spongy, and rubbery. If you catch them.
Also, what's
basically
it's also what straight men prefer when they fuck traps.
I'm not even going to go there.
Neither will I. No.
Come on, this is the wrong one.
Were you Magnus? I know you're that low.
What?
Come on.
What?
Magnus, I thought you would take the opportunity to make fun of traps.
Men and women interview. Well, we're not even.
Well, the easiest way to avoid falling into a trap is don't take the bait.
True that.
Yeah, that's some great advice.
Don't take the bait. Stay home and masturbate.
I think we've established that. I think it's been established that traps are gay, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being gay. There's something wrong with trapping people.
I mean, the argument is whether or not they're homosexual or female.
There is one trap that I not met in real life. No, saw on. It was a Tumblr trap, right? It was years ago, and he was a trap, but he was straight. He was fucking straight. I mean, like he outright said he hates dudes. You know, only wants women to peg him. It was really weird. And then I thought, you know, traps
Wasn't
don't
cool,
have
Ronnie
to be
Dennis,
gay,
was it?
but liking a trap is definitely gay.
I thought the argument was whether or not they're women or homosexual men.
Anyway, shall we continue with the link that Carlos provided me after Ramblings basically shot my piece to bits claiming it wasn't real?
It's our Lord and Savior. It's our Lord and Savior Tucker Carlson. What does he have to say about all this?
I wouldn't call him Lord and Savior. He's funny at times.
He's funny as
He's
fuck.
you know, I think he's a trap too. His name is Tucker.
Well, here's the thing about Tucker Carlson. Just because he's become incredibly hilarious since Trump took office, that's why he's our Lord and Savior. It's just too funny not to watch his show.
Hallelujah, brother. You know.
Anyway, let's let him talk.
Well, we're not even allowed to have separate bathrooms for men and women anymore, but now we may have separate snack foods. In an interview, the CEO of PepsiCo, Indra Nooyi, suggested that Doritos could be more female-friendly. The female-friendly version would have a softer crunch and less cheesy residue on the fingers. Well, the comments sparked a backlash on social media, as everything does, which forced Pepsi to clarify today that there are no plans for women-specific Doritos. Kathy Rue is breathing a sigh of relief. She's founding publisher of Catalina Magazine. And
I remember that woman.
Yeah, she's a resident crazy.
She is. She is.
Looks fucking crazy.
I don't believe she's crazy. I think she's an actress. She's doing a part. Come on.
Well, if she's doing a part, she's doing a good job. But otherwise, she's probably most likely to die alone and being eaten by her 40 cats.
That is pure Poe. She's being the most awesome Poe. God damn it.
Am I muted?
No.
She looks like she's 50 with enough makeup on her to look like she's 40. Just look at her real quick. You could totally see this shit.
You are.
Yeah,
she looks crazy. Yeah, of course.
Like she's 50.
That's lighting.
There's enough makeup on her. This is wild.
Are you sure she's a feminist? She's smiling.
This is wild.
She can't be a feminist. Anyway, so let's listen to what they have. But the thing is, I really believe that the PepsiCo woman, I forgot her name now, Adra Nushi, whatever. I really believe that she thought about creating this hubbub about Doritos, and then because of the backlash, people are like, yeah, but no, it wasn't serious. No, this is not what we meant. I really have a feeling that it might have been a publicity stunt, but.
Well, and I do have to let you guys in on a little secret. See, there's a difference between when a woman smiles and when a feminist smiles. When a woman smiles, it makes you feel good. When a feminist smiles, you get the sudden urge to do the crane kick stance from the Karate Kid.
I love how this is what they decided to devote time to, whereas the real story is on the crawl on the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
And of course, our spirit guide to the dark recesses of the left. Kathy, it's great to see you tonight.
Thanks. Good to see you.
So I'm trying to parse. I set my obsession thinking, like, what's upsetting about lady-specific Doritos? And my only conclusion would be they suggest that there is some inherent difference between men and women, which I think is illegal now, right?
No, what's up?
It goes right to the jugular.
Yeah. How dare you consider men and women different? No. That's legal now. But the worst part is that I can totally understand where he's coming from, because how many times have we not seen that as soon as a man criticizes a woman for anything, he's a bastard and worse than Hitler and Hitler himself. But when a woman criticizes a man, no, it's totally fair, totally reasonable.
But the problem is, I think Tucker Carlson just inadvertently pointed out the whole problem between feminists and social justice. That's the rock and the hard place of both sides, because feminists believe that women are special and different from men and blah, blah, blah. But then you hit that social justice and intersectionality and all that retarded shit. Well, there's no difference between men and women whatsoever.
Yeah, men and women are equal and they're completely the same, and men are rapist pigs.
Yeah.
Let's continue. Let's see where they go.
Upsetting. They were saying that women are different than men in the way that they eat, that women would like to crunch and that they would like to lick their fingers when they eat Doritos, but they don't, because women don't feel comfortable in society doing these things. So for Doritos to even
hold up, Modwain.
Look on his face.
The reason why women don't want to crunch and lick their fingers is too many guys would be walking by them with huge boners, just like, wow.
I've in all fairness, I mean, I asked my wife, and I've been thinking about this, and I've worked in restaurants and bars. I have never ever experienced anything close to this nonsense.
I have to wonder if she's thinking to herself, yes, this is what my life has led up to. Probably not.
No, probably not, because then she would break down and cry, wouldn't she? I mean, honestly.
She's
I kind of wonder how many news hosts just break down and cry on a regular basis when they're not on TV.
But the thing is,
considering that I've seen one or two actually on live TV put a bullet through their head, I'm pretty sure it's quite a few.
But the problem is also, like, did she say that women would love to crunch while eating chips, but they don't do it because they feel uncomfortable in a society that does so? If I feel uncomfortable with something, I don't want to do it. If I do want to do it, that means it doesn't really bother me.
They feel uncomfortable, and it's your fault that they feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I've never been in a restaurant or in a public area of eating place where anyone, male or female, has suddenly burped, farted, done horrible, gross things in public. So that's just probably me.
You haven't never been anywhere with me then.
Super isolated.
I think that if you think there's a problem and you blame it on society in general, you've pretty much exhausted the rest of your case, because you're not blaming something specifically. You're blaming when you say it's society. No, that's a random boogeyman. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Well, it's like Yeah, but women are afraid to do this because reason. But wait a second. Who is afraid of doing this?
But no one calls the bullshit out, Modwain, because all these things they say, oh yeah, girls don't do this or pressure on girls. And I'm thinking, not where I've ever lived.
Nope.
In the north of England, where I'm from, crisps are practically a woman's diet half the time.
My girl isn't.
And the other half is spent losing to Denmark. The other half of your time.
Oh.
Nasty, St. Clair. Nasty.
That's almost like the silliest thing that's ever happened to me at a truck stop was I walk in the bathroom, I take a leak, I go to the sink, start washing my hands, and then it's like, oh, wait, hang on. And I let one go pretty loud at the sink while I'm washing my hands. Turn around, and there's some dude standing there with his eyebrows up like, really? And it's like, I'm sitting there looking at him like, what? This is a bathroom, you realize? And then it's like it suddenly smacks him right in the forehead. Oh, yeah. It's like what the fuck is going on where you fart in the bathroom and somebody's giving you that look like you just did it in public?
Anyway, let's go back to gender neutral snacks.
Feel comfortable in society doing these.
Sorry?
My mistake.
Snacks.
Things. So for Doritos to even think that way, to think that we do not want to crunch in public,
I have to answer what you said right quick. But if you think about it, all snacks are gender neutral, except for Yorkies.
I think all food is.
No. There are certain male and female foods.
Really? Like what?
Yeah, it depends on the words they use for it. That's the thing with English, French, German, and Dutch. Words have genders. I mean, there are some male words and female words. Now, I don't know them all by heart, obviously. But, yeah. See? I know. It's grammatically correct.
No, you're conflating. They are male or female, not for male or female.
Oh, no, that's not what I said.
Modwain, I'm trying to figure out just how many people out there actually understood that linguistic trick of yours, considering that I'm not too sure everybody out there understands that, like in Spanish, you have el masculino and la femenina.
Yeah.
You know, as far as the language goes.
Well,
but I got it.
That is where the word gender comes from.
It is. Words are gendered, actually. People aren't gendered. We have sexes. We don't have genders. But words have genders. Things have genders.
But I do have to point out that there is the whole idea that, you know, snacks in and of themselves are more or less gender neutral as far as I'm concerned.
Well, isn't all food gender neutral? I mean, it's food.
It depends.
Well, food is food, as far as I'm concerned.
No, but you like it, you don't like it.
No. It depends. The eggplant is not gender neutral, at least on the comment sections.
And let's face it. As a man, do you really want to eat soy products? Because soy seems to be pretty gendered. It gives you a high female hormone boost.
I only use soy sauce occasionally with my stir fry.
Is it ironic that I don't like soy, but that my masculine partner does?
Nope, absolutely not.
It doesn't really matter.
No, exactly.
It's funny though, but it doesn't really matter.
It is. We're not going with a Paul Joseph Watson where he drinks copious amount of soy and he complains about the soy boys.
Guys, I'll be right back. I have to hop off and make a quick phone call.
Okay, let's continue with this video then.
They want to silence us? That's completely wrong.
Oh yeah, of course. You want to silence feminists? That's completely wrong.
You want to silence us by stuffing our mouths with non-crunchy chips. You
misogynistic, patriarchal, toxic. Come on, give me some words.
I'm just thinking if they do the cinnamon challenge, they can't speak. So are they being silenced?
The what challenge?
The cinnamon
The
challenge.
cinnamon challenge, one of the most
Maybe-
stupid challenges that have been on YouTube.
Maybe that's what we need,
Okay.
though. Crisps
No,
made
the thing
out of
is-
cinnamon.
If she's a feminist, no one in their right mind think you can silence a feminist. Ever.
God damn it! It's quietening them down. That's a problem.
It's been tried, though.
It's making even for me, my problem is I can't shut up. So, and I know, but they don't realize that. I do realize that I can't shut up, but they don't realize that.
Even duct tape doesn't help. They just use their lips to rip it open. Their jaws are that strong. That's how much.
Exactly. Oh God damn it!
Let's go. Let's see where this heads us.
Trying to silence women by not letting
Right.
us crunch in public.
No, that's right. Keep the crunch. So what you're saying is that vulgarity and rudeness are feminist victories. So if a woman like took her Cheeto paste and rubbed it through her hair, or belched at the table, those would be feminist
that makes
victories,
no sense.
right?
A feminist victory would be allowed.
Stop it there, woman. Oh God, did you see him do that? So what you're saying is
Yes.
pure poetry. So what you're saying that is if you get after you eating your chips, you get the crumbs and spread it through your hair.
Which is absolutely nothing like what she said. But hey, never mind. It works for Katie Newman.
Brilliant.
That was brutal, though. It was. You're correct.
Look at her face. Look at her face.
Apparently, she's not a nasty woman.
No, she's not. No, she I tell you, she's an actress. She
must be.
in the team. No. I'm
She's
not
like a Hollywood
she's
celebrity, doesn't she?
No.
No, I mean, I agree with you, Carlos.
Dressed like one.
She keeps
She's
coming
groomed
back.
like one.
Yeah, but
She keeps coming back, and I've seen her in a few other videos, and I do think that her opinions are terrible. But yeah, it could be that she's just paid actress.
She's playing the actress. Oh God damn it, she's playing it. No. I'm not convinced.
They're saying
Those would be
on the caption that she was editor of a magazine. Has anyone looked it up?
So what? That doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying if she is, there might be a bio.
Look into it later. Look into it. I haven't looked into it.
Feminist victories, right?
A feminist victory would be being women allowed to do what men do with their Doritos. So if men are licking their fingers, then women should be allowed to do so as well. And the CEO is saying that women don't do those things, don't feel comfortable doing those things, but want to do those things.
But here lies the problem. Women don't do those things. They don't want to do those things, but they want to do them.
Who's stopping them?
Is doing away with etiquette a feminist victory?
No. But how is licking your fingers doing away with etiquette, though?
It's more that the women complain that women are doing those things. It's not men. Men don't give a fuck what women do. They lick their fingers or whatever.
No, but
I would like to actually see the evidence.
No, maybe they're afraid of being
true.
sexually. Maybe they're afraid of being sexually thought about by men for licking their fingers.
No, I would like to see any actual evidence that this is actually true. They're just asserting that women don't want to crunch and don't want to lick their fingers.
No, but a lot of this, and this is another example. Like feminists are saying, basically what women cannot do, and it's reminding me of the joke, and you probably know it. And if there are any Christians out there, it's not to insult you, but basically we had a joke. I still remember that the guy died and went to hell, and he was very scared. And Satan welcomed him and showed him and said, "You can choose the room you want to be in." And the first room there was a swimming pool and the beautiful girls and music and everything. And the guy was like, "What's that?" I said, "Well, you can choose to be here, nice girls, the drinks for free, swimming pool, but I have also, other room, and there you see, just like a casino again, free drinks, beautiful women around. Well, you can end up here and you can end up here." He showed him a different room and there was like, fast cars, people are just, driving them, again, beautiful women, free food. So the guy just, started to look more more happy, like he was surprised. That would be the hell. And then they passes another room, and they just basically, he just hears people screaming and being burnt and terrible pain. And the guy is asking Satan, and what's that room? And the Satan goes like, dude, I don't know. The Christians came up with something. Keep me out of there. And it's basically, you know, feminists are telling what women cannot do in a society. The rest of the women can do it. Feminists came up with something what they cannot do, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We've seen it lately.
Oh.
Oh,
You know,
we talking
a
about,
square peg. I don't know, probably not. She probably has no clue.
No, she's absolutely clueless.
well, see, were we talking about the fact that Formula One got rid of the grid girls, or what?
Oh, we'll come to that in a moment.
I was just reading the chat.
Yeah.
Let's continue with the Tucker Carlson bit.
Allow them to enjoy their Doritos. They were going to create lady-friendly Doritos.
So you think, but just to be totally clear, it's a good thing, it's a victory for the feminist ideal when women are as repulsive as men are.
Well, why should...
Like when you see a man, like, would you dip tobacco ever? Do you think you throw in a dip of Copenhagen and you think, a man does this, I'm doing it?
Well, why do you get to be gross and we can't be gross? So it is a victory when women can be equal to men in any way. So in the 1700s, women couldn't walk on the grass because it was seen as dirty, but men could walk on the grass. So it's the same concept.
That's
you can lick your fingers, but
thing I've ever heard.
Yes.
What planet does she think?
I actually want to know whether or not this is true.
But this is she lives on the same planet where women in the past weren't allowed to work. Never mind the fact that when you were poor, men, women, girls, and boys all had to work, but apparently women weren't allowed to.
Women who were members of the upper class didn't have to work, so they chose not to.
Yeah, but they were allowed to.
And does she know that in the towns and cities of those days, the streets were covered in horse shit?
To be fair, in the upper class, throughout the majority of feudal society, the men didn't work very much either unless there was war.
Yeah, but then
in which case the men went to war.
Yeah, where they had to die and all that.
Yeah,
there is something about that.
I was just reading something the other day about how, if you think about it, back in the day, everybody had a horse and only rich people had cars. Now it's the other way around. Rich people are the only ones with horses.
But that's the thing with wealth. Anyway, let's continue with this one. We're halfway already. Usually we're not this fast.
We can't. So why do we have to be so pure and clean in society?
Hey, look, I'm not imposing my values on anyone. I'm just wondering where these rules come from. And I suspect, as I often suspect when you and I talk, that a lot of these rules are actually formulated and enforced by women. Just a guess, having lived here for 48 years. But do you think there's any truth in that?
No, absolutely not. It's men.
Yeah, men make up how women need to behave because women put on makeup because of men, and they dress up because of men, and men don't care at all.
No, the name of the person who wrote the book on etiquette wasn't Miss Manners; it was Mr. Manners. Bull fucking shit, lady.
Oh, anyway.
Men are running things, aren't they? Aren't men still considered the majority, even though women are the majority in numbers in this country? Men are the majority, women are the minority, and the majority makes up the rules.
Right.
And since
women were actually
okay, so this is your philosophy. Men make up all the rules because they're making believe that they're the majority. But no, we women are the majority, so we should be the ones making up all the rules. Because it should be the majority that makes up the rules for the minority. Is that your philosophy, ma'am?
Apparently, yes. It's a fact
that's not a country I want to live in.
No, it's a
she
fact
seems
that
to
women,
think that legislators set the social mores, which is garbage. But that's what she's saying. Oh, men are in charge of government, therefore they determine how we behave.
Women control the economy. They make 60.
Politicians don't choose a nation's social norms. Social norms choose the politicians.
Exactly, but she's conflating the two.
But the worst part of it is, and this is something that I keep seeing time and again, it's women against men, or as they make it sound like, men against women. I don't get this. How did we get there? How did my sister become my enemy?
Yeah.
Well, feminism, obviously, but why?
Because penis.
According to Laurie Penny, all men are a scum except her dad.
That's the thing, though, isn't it?
Feelings mutual.
That makes her a very strange feminist then, because I thought it came from a disdain for one's patrilineal parent.
Exactly.
Well, she was talking about how men are trash, and then somebody else brought up her dad, and she mentioned the fact that her dad is dead. And I thought to myself, oh, so men are still disposable. Your dad's just already been disposed of in the proper receptacle.
Exactly.
The best man, I guess the best men are dead men.
Exactly, yes.
Today I was responding to someone who was talking about how chivalry is dead and how men blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, chivalry isn't dead. It just pummeled into submission by the ones that chivalry once wanted to protect.
Yeah.
Well, chivalry for me died the minute they wanted equality. If you want equality, then
here's a spade.
You can't have equality and chivalry. Take your pick.
Take your pick.
The way that men and women treat each other is a very small part of what chivalry was, anyway.
Yeah, I think out of the entire rules of chivalry, one had something to do with how you treat women.
No,
overall it was an ideal by one's entire life was lived.
Yes, but it was also how you would treat men and women.
People in general.
Yeah, that would definitely be a part of that.
But you would allow more from a woman than you would from a man, and you would ask more of a man than you would from a woman. Basically, in short, like that's basically it.
You know, we have women's rights groups. I think it's about time we had a women's responsibility group.
Fair point.
Or to be more neutral about it, we have equal rights. We need equal responsibility groups.
Yeah, I've made this formula. I've been tweeting it since last year. But if women want equality, equality equals responsibility plus responsibility plus what's that with God damn it, I can't remember the other part.
Responsibility and accountability.
Accountability.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I believe the way it was put before is women should, if they want the
No. I remembered it. It's agency plus responsibility equals equality. If you want agency, you also have to be responsible for your actions. If either of those two are not met, you will never have equality for anyone. It's male and female. Yes.
Yeah.
Basically. Let's continue with the video, and when we finish it,
makes up the rules,
right?
And since
but what if women were actually the majority, which they are? Would that change the calculation?
Women are the majority, and fortunately, still making 77 cents to every white man's
And even
dollar.
if that statistic were totally untrue?
We don't let me ask you this.
Before we get into more fake statistics,
that's not true.
Right, yeah. Okay, but let me ask you this. Do female-specific products always bother you? Does it bother you that bras are for sale? Those are mostly bought by women. Does that feel like a slap in the face to women, or eyeshadow?
No, products that women need are not. No, there's nothing wrong with those products, but there's no need to make a chip.
You do not need eyeshadow.
Or a bra. You don't need a bra. You can just,
put a towel around your mid.
You would only really need a bra if you, technically, if you are involved in sports, can support the, it doesn't flop around. But if you just normal day-to-day
It depends
life.
how large the woman is, Carlos.
True, that. Yes, absolutely. I will take that. Yes. Absolutely.
Square Peg talking about how some fellas could use a bra too, and I still have to remind myself of a friend of mine who a Viking reenactor, who's making a chainmail hobart, and because of that chainmail hobart he needs, which is also called a bra. Basically, this is a strap around the mid to help support weight. It's called a bra.
You know what, Modwain? Every man needs a bra, because who couldn't use a double barrel slingshot?
Well, I'll have to look at Joel's channel, Slingshot channel, see if he can make one. That's good.
He's done a double. He's done a double crossbow. So why not?
Yeah. True that. Anyway, let's continue. Let's see where this leads us.
That doesn't let us dirty our fingers. That's what this product is saying. But men buy eyeshadow. It's okay. It's 2018. Men are buying the same products that women are buying.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How many men use eyeshadow? And I'm not saying there's none, but on average, do you think more women use eyeshadow than men do?
Hang on. Modwain, are you familiar with the concept of black metal?
Yeah, I am.
Actors.
Okay.
Actors.
He's from the Netherlands. Of course, he's familiar with black metal.
Yeah.
I'm a metalhead.
You don't see people walking around with all that black makeup and shit all over their face to make them look just pure fucking.
It's a very small amount of the population.
I'm not saying men are not doing it. I'm saying women are doing it way more.
Exactly. Actors, musicians,
more women wear makeup.
To be fair, men and women have always. To be fair, men and women, at least men and women of affluence, have almost always worn makeup throughout the history of civilization. But women have done it more.
Yep.
Yes. So.
But yeah, I mean, as she's complaining about how men complain about women licking their fingers. Now, I'm sorry, but I've never complained about that before.
I don't think I've ever.
I've never thought about it. I've never even thought about it.
That's the trouble with feminism, though. They don't like something, and then they say, "But that's what men don't like," and men are going, "Huh? What? What are you talking about?"
Keep me out of it, please.
Well, no, actually, John, I think most of the time, most of the normal guys like me are looking around and going, "The fuck have you been smoking?"
Well, yeah, exactly.
I love how your voice sounds exactly like the British text-to-talk voice.
What, me?
Well, he is British.
I know, but it's pretty spot on.
Okay.
Anyway, let's continue with this
I have
one.
no idea what you mean.
You wanna elaborate, St. Clair? No,
I didn't get that.
Well, there's a very popular text-to-talk functionality. You type it in, and then using a mechanical voice, it says what you typed in, and it's used for videos occasionally. And one of the voices, I forget what the name of the program is, but one of the voices is a British male voice, and it sounds exactly like John.
Damn! Well, I should have monetized this.
Yes. Anyway, let's continue with this one.
Okay. What does it bother you that women's razors are pink?
Well, women's razors can be blue as well.
Okay.
No, they can't.
And
No,
last
they
question.
can't. No, they
When
can't.
you're...
If they're blue, they're no longer women's razors. Otherwise, women would have bought the blue bloody razor.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
Having dinner out with a friend of whatever, non-determined gender, doesn't matter. Do you ever think to yourself, I'm going to be disgusting. I'm going to eat with my hands. I'm going to drink the soup from the bowl.
Do you think
just as a way to express your liberation?
Tucker, have you ever been to a burger joint, my dude?
I'm going to say, have you ever been to Kentucky?
I think that
women eating their drumsticks with their fingers.
I think
that's the only way to eat them.
Or going to a Chinese restaurant.
I think that Tucker's kind of lost his base a little bit with this one because most of the people who watch Fox News are poor as fuck, and they don't really give a shit about that kind of food etiquette.
True that.
But yeah, if you've ever watched the difference between a man and a woman eating a drumstick when they're eating fried chicken, is the woman will actually have the wherewithal to stick her pinky out while she's doing it.
And as British, please.
I took etiquette training at university. Was part of one of my archaeological courses, historical archaeology, and I learned there that it is okay to eat with your hands drumsticks and ribs or chops.
Yep.
So,
Eat with my hands. I'm gonna drink the soup from the bowl.
What?
Shellfish as well. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, shellfish. Yeah, fish. Yeah. And drinking soup from the bowl in certain Chinese recipes, it's normal that you put the bowl to your face, and with the chopsticks, ramen, for example, you put from the bowl into your face, so you keep the bowl close to your mouth. Otherwise, it'll be dripping all over.
Yeah, but he was suggesting gripping with the hands. With the hands, he was saying grab the soup with your hands. And
to be fair, I think he's going more by Americanized manners and etiquette and all that.
Well, Americans have manners.
Well, we used to. You know, there was shit like keep your elbows off the table and all that good shit.
Right. Yeah, I know that one too. I know that one too. Or the wooden spoon comes round.
I'd be wondering if Americans are actually another species.
No, they're not.
Because actually, they're so different.
Actually, the funniest part about all this is I have the proper table manners that I can eat like a blue-collar guy, or I could eat like somebody in high society, because I actually took the time to learn this shit, so I know etiquette.
Anyway,
it's cool. Yeah.
Etiquette is easy. Let's continue though.
Do you think
just as a way to express your liberation as a woman? Do you ever do that?
You could do that and get away with it, but unfortunately, women, we're just not there yet, and Dorito and PepsiCo doesn't think we're there yet, so we're not.
So
what the fuck? Where are the police? Where are the police to tell her she can't do it?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, socialized misogyny. There you have it. Government is stopping them.
Women are the ones that came up with these social faux pas in the first fucking place. So what is she bitching about?
And men have to. This is why etiquette. Part of etiquette was so important, because to keep the dining table approachable for females, so men had to curb their behaviors.
Uh-huh.
That's what it is. It's men.
Is that true, or did you just?
No, that's absolutely true. No. This is absolutely true. Because if you would say for a group of men, okay, this is what we're eating, then a man would go like, okay, I have my hand, and I have my hand. There is some meat over there. There's bread over there. I've got everything I want, and they would. But as soon as you have women, a lot of women find this to be, how do you call that? Somewhat upsetting, disgusting. What do you want to call it?
Are you talking about off-putting?
Off-putting. Thank you. So that's how the rules got started. Anyway, I need to go AFK for a moment. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm going to bed, guys. So
I'm going to switch. My wife will be able to do the video. I'll be right back. Sleep well, guys, Carlos, and I'll see you soon.
Yes. Everyone
Good
in
night,
the chat.
Carlos.
Love you guys, and this was fun. This was absolutely fun.
Yeah, bye, Carlos. I always enjoy talking with you.
Same here, man. Same here, and also to Jason as well. Cheers, guys.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, let's play another part of the video then.
Sure.
Allowed to be.
Do you ever
disgusting.
fold your pizza by putting a finger in the middle like a roll your own cigarette and kind of fold it and just like eat it like that?
Are you
That's
getting
not
off on
very
this, Tucker? Are you getting off on
Well,
this, Tucker?
he might be, but if you've ever eaten a slice of New York pizza, that's kind of how you have to do it.
Big Mac and fewer than 3 bites?
Well, yeah, if I want to be equal and treated equally, I think I will start doing that in public.
You.
I love it. He's like, yeah.
If I want to be equal, I have to behave like a man. At the very same time, I'm going to be a bitchy that I cannot choose what I'm doing, and therefore I'm not equal. You see what I mean?
Tucker is a real American. He's fetishizing the eating of food.
I'd just like to say, though, that Tucker is treating this with exactly the level of seriousness it deserves. No.
Yeah.
Tucker's a little bit like a YouTuber, isn't he?
Well, he is,
Yes,
isn't
he
he?
is.
He's a shitlord, to be honest. He really is.
Well, that's why I said he's gotten far more entertaining since Trump won the election than he was before.
I have to admit, I started... Well, following him is not the right word, but the first time I actually saw him was at the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And I was that's the first time I saw him, and I was really amazed by him, because most people there get... Jon Stewart was really good in dominating, but he didn't dominate Tucker. But Tucker responded in a smart and funny way as well. So I was really impressed by him back then. And I'm not really following him, but I am somewhat following him. So he's been pretty sharp, to be honest.
Well, you're not following him, but you are kind of keeping up with the things he does.
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't really spend a lot of time on Fox News, but I do try and keep track with Charles Krauthammer, because I like Charles Krauthammer.
I have no idea who that is. I believe you on your word, but I have no idea who that is.
Okay, sorry then.
Shall we continue with the...
Sure. Let's see how wild Tucker goes for the rest of this, because this is actually starting to get good.
You are a feminist, Kathy Rue. I love that about you. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thanks.
Oh, that was that done.
That was the end of it. Come on.
That was the end of it.
Well, that was a bit of a letdown. I thought he was just going to go fucking nuts after that.
He's always being polite to her. I mean, he drops certain things during the talk, and then after that, not so much. I'm going to stop broadcasting, by the way, because... come on. Off you go. There we go.
I'll say the funniest part about all this, Modwain, in all honesty, has to be the fact that who would even come up with something that stuff? I mean, I know 4chan would come up with something that fucking ridiculous, but an actual company like PepsiCo, I can't. I'm trying to wrap my mind around that one.
Yeah, I really think it wasn't a hoax. I really think they were planning to do this, but then they saw the backlash and therefore they stopped.
Yeah, they should have known that this would be kind of an unintelligent decision, especially in the United States with the current political climate.
There is no accounting stupidity, though.
Yeah, but when you're a multi-million-dollar company, you should be intelligent enough to, or you should have people who are intelligent enough to tell you, no, this is not going to be a very good idea.
Unfortunately, large corporations have a bad history of making really dumb decisions.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, because this reminded me of New Coke. Do you know?
Well, no, I think that was more of a genius move on their part, because
only in hindsight.
Well, yeah, in hindsight, well, yeah, but it was a horrible idea at the time, but it pushed more of the Coca-Cola Classic, as they call it, as a consequence. So it was a stupid move then, but it was a brilliant move in hindsight.
Yeah, but I mean,
that is usually the way these brilliant moves actually work. Is it was a stupid move to change whatever it was back then, but when you see
I get you, and you know what? Potato chips, crisps, was one of those stupid moves. You know what happened? The story is that, and it happened either in Belgium or in France. I can't remember what. But there was a chef, and a customer kept sending his fries back because he kept asking for them to be sliced thinner. And the chef got pissed and sliced them in the other way. So he made potato chips, and the customer actually liked them.
Yeah,
so it's one of those goofy. It was even the invention of potato chips is one of those goofy mistakes that was actually intelligent in hindsight.
Yeah, but the thing is that story doesn't really. I mean, I like the story. I know the story, but there's an English cookbook from 1800 something, and I forgot the name of it. And in that book, they already talk about how to make potato chips. So the story.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yes, the story is really good, but at the same time, I don't really think that was how potato chips were invented. And it's a really
There is another issue as well, because there are several French potato recipes which use very thinly sliced potato.
Yeah, because the English book, I can't remember the name of it now. This is quite annoying. But yeah, that they weren't the first. It's not their invention or anything. They just wrote it down, so we know that it must have been there well before that book was being published.
Well, honestly, I'm wondering if that story that St. Clair told might have been how they became more popularized.
Maybe.
It's a possibility that shit had been around for fucking ever, but that particular incident was, other people were like watching. Of course, in a restaurant, people are watching. So it's like, well, you know what? Those actually look good. I want to try that. And then more people hear about it, and, before too long, there you go.
True. Anyway, sidetracked again. Considering the time, who cares that we sidetrack?
Well, no, we've actually managed to stay more on topic with this hangout than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, we may be getting off on tangents about table manners and potato chips, but we're still in the same ballpark.
Yes, I do. I do seem to be talking a lot less than normal, and that might have something to do with it.
Well, maybe, I don't know. No, not really, because when you're not here, it's a bitch to keep on target as well. It's probably just me. But no, I mean, I like it that the ramblings of nobody claimed or proved, basically, by giving me that link, that PepsiCo is now saying, no, this is not what we said, even though that there are several sources who all confirm the fact that, what's her name, Noi, talked about how they wanted to make a female version of Doritos.
Well, but here's the thing. I don't think that most of these major corporations like PepsiCo have caught on to the fact that the internet never forgets.
Well, that too. And yeah, I mean, I'm completely willing to believe that they tried it and then realized, oops, nope, dumb, let's not. And therefore... Go on.
Sorry, Modwain. There's another thing, because in the UK last week, there was this huge hoo-ha about the President Club. I don't know if you abroad heard about it. There was this club, which was a man-only function, and women were paid to be hostesses, and they were even told to wear matching underwear. And a couple of reporters from the Financial Times went undercover, and they wrote this big expose. And I'm thinking, which moron in their right minds thought it was a good idea to have a man-only event with women told what underwear to wear? Are they not living in the current year?
Yeah, but they're doing it just to pull someone's...
No, I mean, it's been a disaster. People have lost their jobs over it.
Really?
Charities, there were children's charities which were given like £500,000 that was raised at this, and they've given the money back. Absolute shitstorm. And
I want
I'm
to
thinking,
read. Go ahead. Never mind. No, sorry. Never mind.
and I'm just thinking, who thought it was a sensible idea in 2018 to have a men-only event where there were attractive young women who were, you know,
under a dress code.
Yes.
It's kind of.
It's sort of a concept that is lost on most of these feminists and retards nowadays. I believe it's an ancient word from the English dialect called fun.
No, I know, but you know, I mean, as I say, the shitstorm was just like, well, duh. Of course, everyone reacted like that.
I like Psycho's response though. The female version of Doritos is called Pringles, overpriced for no reason and stacked for neatness. I think it's a good one. It's a good one. So there now is a pink text called Pringles, a Pringles tax.
I hate to say it, but Pringles are kind of nasty.
Yeah. Feminists, you can boycott Pringles into oblivion if you want to. I don't give a shit.
I like Pringles.
Oh, never mind what I said then.
Okay, you didn't think that through. No, but
yeah, we can boycott Pringles with a good double barrel slingshot. I know. Every time I bring that up, Modwain's just got that thought in his head.
I am visualizing it. It's not. And I want it to work. Never mind that. As I was saying. No, but it's kind of funny that I believe the link that Rambling of Nobody gave me, that PepsiCo is saying, oh no, we never said that. But considering the amount
I've seen that as well, Modwain.
Yeah, but considering the amount of posts of responsible newspapers. Yeah, I couldn't find the word.
Not really responsible, but reputable.
Reputable, thank you. Reputable sources. So I really have a feeling it's like, no, they wanted to do this, but they got caught out.
Yeah,
which
they're
is
backtracking.
Yeah, they're backtracking, which is all good and well. I don't mind. Social justice warriors will complain about it anyway. But it's kind of funny.
They never forget.
No, they never do, and nor should they, because forgetting is useless anyway. But it's kind of upsetting that it doesn't matter. If feminists like it, it's a good thing. If feminists dislike it, it's a bad thing. And society needs to cater. There's no
Speaking of feminists disliking things and people having to cater to them, all those poor grid girls that are out of a job.
Yeah.
Shame, shame, shame.
Well, don't worry. They are planning on having it being done by volunteering children next year.
What?
Yeah, child labor. There's a future.
Feminism win.
It's kind of like mining back in the 1800s. Women weren't allowed to do it, but a boy of 10 years old, yeah, sure, no problem.
Well, of course, because he was a boy, and boys grow up to be men, and men are icky and rapists, and what the fuck was I talking about?
And they like work. Give them more work to do. They like it.
Yeah. And there's something.
Get the 1800s equivalent of Jordan Peterson out there to tell them to clean their room and mind their oars.
The 1800s equivalent of Jordan Peterson. That'd be John Stuart Mill, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah, Grid Kids, the cringe is real, Marcel. You're correct. And the problem is, and I keep pointing this out, and I know you guys agree with me on this on average, nothing good has come of feminism. Not a single thing. And we're still following the Pied Piper.
We are following the Pied Piper out of the river into a different river.
Yeah,
well, no, we're not following. We're not following the Pied Piper. We're just kind of shackled to the retards who are.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, and we know where this will lead us to. I mean, look at fucking Sweden. Now, not everything is wrong in Sweden. I know we hear a lot of the negative things, but at the same time, they are the rape capital of the Western world by far. They score close to South Africa.
That's not really the
that's
fault
one
of
of them.
feminism.
Hold up there, Modwain. That's one of them there illegal facts. You can't say that.
And it is because of feminism, because the Swedish government prides itself on being a feminist government. And they are the ones that opened the borders for people coming in that rape their children and they rape their girls. And then the feminists are like, yeah, but this isn't happening.
The Norns have faded the Swedish populace to oblivion.
Well, I wouldn't say the Norns, but...
I'm just comparing feminism to the Norns.
I wouldn't. I seriously wouldn't. This is the same that feminism and women are not the same either. I mean, yes, okay, a feminist could be a woman, but a woman, thank God, doesn't have to be a feminist. Might not be nice, but I kind of do like to think that there is a huge difference between the two.
Well, in the UK, only 7% of people are feminists. So at least we've got that going for us.
It's getting less, which is a good thing. In America, it's still around 20%, unfortunately.
And we apologize for that.
See, this is what Sweden gets for letting people in who believe it's perfectly okay to rape a virgin before you execute her just to make sure she doesn't get into heaven.
Are you blaming the victim now?
No, that's exactly what Islam believes. At least I believe that, according to what was his name, Ayatollah Khomeini.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they go into court having raped a child, and they go, "But I didn't know it was wrong," and the frigging judges let them off.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I
Wait,
saw.
wait a minute. So in the Muslim faith, if a child is raped before they are killed, they do not get into heaven.
No, that's if they're going to execute a woman for a quote-unquote crime.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then they have to make sure to rape her so she doesn't die a virgin and get into heaven.
Oh, of course, that makes sense.
But then again, I mean, this is not just happening
to these assholes from these back-assward shithole sand-covered countries. Yeah, that makes perfect fucking sense.
It doesn't make sense there either. But in all fairness, this isn't just true in sand-covered countries. This is happening in the UK, where a white guy who drove from one end of actually from Wales to England, and drove into a bunch of people in front of Finsbury Park Mosque, which is a known hotbed for terrorists. And he drove into a bunch of people, got jailed for 48 years, 45 years, one of the two. And a Muslim guy who basically did the same but didn't drive as far, only got jailed for 5 years, which got commuted to a 1-year prison sentence.
Well, wait, that was the same crime. I'm going to guess there was the same intent behind the crime.
Yeah.
But
because
Ayatollah, hold up, because Ayatollah Goatfucker was from a sand-covered shithole, he got lesser sentence.
Well, it's even worse because the guy that got 45 years, one of the charges is that one of the guys died during the Finsbury Park incident, terror attack, whatever you want to call it. But the guy died because of a heart attack. He was having a heart attack slightly before the event happened.
He was having a heart attack and then he got hit by a fucking car.
No, he didn't get hit by a car either. This is something people started to talk about now. But if we go back, I mean, I seen news reports and paper reports back then. The problem then was because the guy drove into them, the doctor couldn't get to the guy with a heart attack. But now they're talking about how he run over them.
I think that's because that's what you first assume when you hear that story.
Yeah, but we know what happened.
And people will prefer their first assumptions over the evidence and the actual.
I can understand that people do that, but a judge shouldn't. A judge should be based on the facts. And he got sentenced, among other things, because he drove over the guy that died, but he didn't. All the initial reports say he didn't even get close to him.
That's a miscarriage of justice.
It was a politically motivated sentence.
Yeah, very much.
The minute it happened, after all the terrorist attacks, when everyone was going, oh, don't blame Islam, don't blame Islam, don't blame Islam. One guy on his own does a revenge attack, and it's those white nationalists, let's root them out, let's get rid of them. It's entirely politically motivated.
Yeah. But up to the judge, even the judge was basically...
Don't believe they didn't lean on him.
Well, but I mean, who leaned on him to commute the sentence of 5 years from the Muslim guy who was sentenced to a 5-year sentence, who commuted that to a 1-year sentence? They didn't lean on him to do that.
I bet they did.
So, I don't think to me, it seemed like he didn't need a lot of lead.
They create a culture that views things. It's just like the gender sentencing gap.
Yeah.
There is an explicit instruction to sentence women less and men more. That is a fact. So you can't say that they don't have these things. And they will say, we can't punish the Islamic guy because it'll feed Islamophobia and it'll give people fuel. Not understanding it does the exact opposite, because by not sentencing him, it makes people angry and fuels Islamophobia.
But
exactly.
You know,
why would it fuel Islamophobia to arrest somebody who is Muslim? You would think that would lower it a bit.
Exactly, but they have it arse backwards. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
if it's a... Sorry, Sam.
No, go ahead, sorry.
I was just say, because every time it's a Muslim, they look at his mental health. They look at anything and everything except Islam. Even if they shout Allahu Akbar, even if they say that's why they do it, they look at everything else. And then one guy, one single person does something and it's a right-wing plot.
To be fair, I think you would have to be a bit mentally ill to want to kill somebody, but I think you would have to be a bit mentally ill to be Muslim as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is like...
unfortunately raised that way. I'm sorry.
No, but I look, for example, I was thinking once about even people I know on Facebook, and some of them are from England, not all of them. And I compare it to, you know, recent, I mean, I don't even visit that place anymore, but still a few months ago, to a few years ago. A few years ago when we had a terroristic attack somewhere in Europe. Okay, I do admit those flags over your profile picture from that country, stuff like that. This doesn't help, you know, that it doesn't matter. But people basically were upset about it happening. Now what I see, some of the people on my Facebook, they are upset that some people are upset about terroristic attack in Europe. Like when there was this concert in England, I forgot where, when the kids died. Yeah.
Manchester.
And basically, I remember that
concert.
But that one of the people on Facebook even posted really angry, pretty angry post that basically people are so outraged that a few kids died here, and what about, you know, all the kids in Islamic country that died? And I remember I actually typed to him because it actually pissed me off, and I said, hey, is it at least okay for the parents of those children to be mourning and to be upset, or is that also asking too much? Is that really also too much? Even they shouldn't be,
See, but here's the problem. It's because they're killed by other Muslims in their own little shithole countries. That's why it's perfectly. That's why it's so sad and horrible. But
no.
Here's the thing. If some little 12-year-old Muslim rapes and murders some little British girl in let's say Rotterdam or something, nobody gives a fuck because he just doesn't know better. What?
Yeah, and the people basically are blaming like that Europe and US for all the children dying in Islamic countries. And when people asking me, are you also sorry for the children in Islamic countries or only in those children in Europe? I said, yeah, I'm sorry for the children in Islamic countries. Are you sorry for all the children in Islamic countries? Those 5-year-old beheaded Christian children. Are you sorry for them too?
Well, you know what? But at least because of Islam, Ariana Grande's music really sucks. But at least the people in Manchester had a blast.
The thing with Islam, though, and I'm not even going to go there. The thing with Islam, though, is this. I will link it. I'm going to link. No, I'm not going to link it. I'm going to show it in the screen. The thing is al-wala wal-bara. I'm going to use the Wikipedia link. I know a lot of people don't like Wikipedia, but I'm doing this so you can see the term, so you know what to look for.
Hold up. Who fucked what where?
Al-wala wal-bara. This is basically the whole concept of Islam. It means being loyal to Islam and being aggressive to everything that is not Islam. It signifies, as it's described here, it signifies loving and hating for the sake of Islam.
According to Wikipedia.
No, not according to Wikipedia, because this is actually what it means. I'm using the Wikipedia page because a lot of people will not agree with it. So please do your research. And there are there are even Islamic sites on the web, English Islamic sites on the web, which will explain to you what it means. And they basically will tell you the same thing. So you have to be submissive to Allah. And if you meet someone who is not submissive to Allah, then he's a kufr. Even if they are Muslims, because here they say kufr non-Muslims. But if you are a Muslim and you're not a good Muslim, you've fallen for fitna, and basically that means you're an apostate. And an apostate and a kufr are roughly the same. They are hated and need to die. And somehow in the Western world, we still don't see this.
That just clears it all up, doesn't it?
So yeah, this is why I'm sharing it now. I'm not going to link it downstairs because YouTube doesn't like me as it is. But for those who are interested in this, yeah, look it up.
Islam gives us a really, a very good window into ancient religion and how it worked and how it affected people.
Yeah.
Because this is actually a brainwashing tactic.
Yeah.
More than anything, they teach you this throughout your entire life so that you will be loyal to your superiors, who have the mandate of Allah, of course.
Yes, and if you read the Quran, and I know the best way to become an atheist if you're a Christian is to read the Bible, but the best way to be a Christian is to read the Quran, because you really want to do something about that. You really want to counter Islam.
Well, here's the thing. That's why it amazes me that so many atheists who used to criticize the fuck out of Islam back in the day, they're like completely fucking scared of it now or something. I don't know what, but
yeah. Well, what could cause that? I mean, we've got Western governments who are punishing Western civilians because they complain about Islam. And it's not that they complain about stuff that's unreasonable. No. If we look in the UK, there are people in jail because they complained about how the Rotherham investigation was handled. Rotherham was where about 1,400 girls were groomed by Arabic rape gangs, Islamic rape gangs, and then
Pakistani.
Sorry, thank you.
I have to bring this up, but if these fucking assholes could learn how to mind their goddamn manners, I wouldn't have a problem with them.
Yeah, but they can't, because that's what Islam is telling them to do. Al-Wala is being a good Muslim. Wal-Bara is being a beast to everyone who isn't a good Muslim. This is why they will, for example, they will do a terror attack at what's her name, Grande concert. Why? Because there won't be any good Muslims there, because they're not allowed to be there anyway. So, hey, it's okay. This is why you won't see an attack like that in a city center where there will be a lot of Muslims. Yeah, but they did it in train stations. Yeah, but listen, a Muslim man doesn't work and a Muslim woman doesn't work. So attacking a train station, there's no chance that you will hit a devout Muslim. Or you might hit a Muslim, but that's not a devout one. So who cares? Because this is the one thing people... No, that's the real thing. It's not a real Muslim. If you are not 100% in favor of Sharia, who cares about you? You're not a real Muslim. This is the main reason, and this is something a lot of people constantly seem to miss. Yes, there are way too many terror victims of Islam in the West, but more Muslims die because of terrorism of the Islamic persuasion than any other group. But we're not
Islamic terrorist attacks in primarily Islamic countries happen more frequently, and they also frequently take more lives.
Yeah, definitely. And you know why? Because the ones doing it claim that they are the true Muslims, and the ones being the victims aren't Muslim enough. This has been a problem for more than 1400 years, since the very death. Well, even before the very death of their prophet, they already started infighting. They already started killing each other. And then there are people who claim they are a religion of peace, for fuck's sake. I can't even imagine what Bush was smoking when he said that.
So basically, to solve the whole problem of Islam, we should just ship them all back to these little shitholes they came from and let them take care of it.
Well, I used to have a German teacher. No, that's not a German teacher. He taught us German. It's a Dutch guy, but he taught us German. He always said this: Middle East, build a big fucking wall around it, and you know what? Maybe glassify it. Maybe just give it 10 years, and they'll all be dead anyway.
You don't need a very large wall. You just need to blockade the strait between Europe and Turkey.
Well, that's one, and you need to stop them going into Africa, which is too late already because you've got places like Morocco. So yeah,
I mean, Morocco. Well, that ship sailed 1,200 years ago, my friend.
Yeah, but listen. Therefore, you need a big fucking wall. And the worst part is, I do not hate Muslims. I think Muslims have as much to fear of Islam as we all do. But somehow, no one is allowed to say this. Basically, to me, if you are a believer in Islam and you are in favor of Sharia, you're a problem. We can't handle you in the West. And I don't understand it, because even as far as only 70 years ago in America, they still recognized that Islam was a threat to America. And now everyone is in favor of Islam. I don't understand what happened. I don't know where this is coming from.
Postmodernism happened, mate.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things.
It's too easy to say postmodernism.
Because yeah,
it is easy, but there was a cultural relativism, and that is postmodernism. So
yeah, I think you're correct on that, John. But I don't understand them, because postmodernists, cultural Marxists, feminists, they're all in favor of Islam, but they are the first to die because they are outspoken. I'm sorry, but you want to be outspoken about being gay in Islam? There's no day for you.
Maybe they just wish to die being seen as a virtuous person.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Jordan
seems-
Peterson said that there's a secret desire to be dominated.
I don't think so. I don't think it's that Freudian.
Well, really, have you not seen the sales figures for 50 Shades of Grey?
No.
I
Point.
did not hear what John said. Sorry.
Sorry, I just said that Jordan Peterson says it's a secret urge to be dominated. The problem is that there's deep evolved psychological relationship between the sexes, and women. Gadsad talks about this in romantic fiction. Cross cultures, the same archetypal man emerges in romantic
It's
fiction, and
true.
they are a powerful, forceful man. And the problem
You
is
forgot,
feminism.
John, you forgot the word dominant.
No, I deliberately didn't use the word dominant, actually. But the problem is that feminism, you look at male feminists, they've subjugated them into vassals. So this biological urge for forceful men needs to be satisfied from somewhere.
But that's something like that you said, I don't know, a year ago or something. What? Basically, that feminist, in a way, now wants to have a man from the Middle East because, well, we don't have a really strong, dominant man anymore.
I don't think they're looking in the right direction anyway. If you haven't been able to tell, North African men tend to look very effeminate or almost childlike in some instances.
Well, yeah, and I what my lovely wife said, and basically what Malachite is saying too. Western women embrace the Islam because they look for dominant men, even though they feminism chased dominant men away.
And that's what I was saying.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, but you're correct. And this is part of the problem. And I mentioned this earlier, that I was talking to someone about chivalry and how chivalry is dead. And I'm like, no, chivalry isn't dead. It got pummeled into submission by feminism. But it will be a sore day when men start realizing, no, fuck it, enough.
I thought that chivalry was pounded into submission by the rise of capitalism in the West, or mercantilism.
No. Yeah.
Capitalism and capitalism and chivalry still have a lot of things in common, to be honest. And they don't really have to bite each other. Chivalry is a concept, is a behavioral concept that
the
feudal
system is capitalism and mercantilism.
Yeah,
it is an ethical code.
But they don't have to bite each other. I'm sorry, Marcel Thelen. We use the Arabic numeral system. 70% of the named heavenly bodies are Arabic. You are correct, but most of that is derived from work of non-Arabs. As John said, numeral system was invented in India. A lot of the solar bodies or heavenly bodies, or how do you call it, were already discovered by the ancient Greeks. And before that, one of the reasons why the Arab world was so into the stars is because they needed to be able to calculate where the right way to pray towards was, because they always needed to pray towards Mecca. And the golden age of the Arabic world is more of a trade age than a science age, but because of the wealth, they started collecting science. There weren't a lot of scientific breakthroughs coming from the Arabic world, but we claim that they were now, because that's where it all more or less coalesced.
I mean, one of the stories I've heard is that flight was invented in Andalusia. Human flight, where the first successful human flight occurred in Andalusia. Is that true?
I doubt it. It's one of the many stories.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
in all
Depends
fairness,
what you mean by human flight.
yes,
Because the
It wasn't a very long.
Gaultier brothers in France with the balloon.
yeah, that was flight though. Well, nah, it's floating. It's still flight.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It depends what you mean by flight. If you mean traveling through the air, you do it in a balloon.
The funny thing is, though, if we look at the Quran, according to the Quran, Allah made the sea and the land for us to travel, not the sky. So flying, according to the Quran, is haram.
According to the Quran, Muhammad flew to Jerusalem on a winged horse. So
yeah, but he was brought there by Allah.
Yeah, on a winged horse, flying.
But he's the
I'm looking at this on Wikipedia right now. Abbas ibn Farnas, who lived from 810 to 887, performed the first successful tower jump. He tied wings to his hands, to his arms, and was able to jump from the top of a building where normally you would have died, and he did not die.
Yes, I know the story. There is no proof for that story.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know the story. It's kind of like the story of Icarus. Though the story of Icarus is somewhat more deep and it has a meaning. This is merely saying, okay, this guy found something that was akin to a parachute. No.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility that somebody managed to work out some kind of sort of parachute effect.
It's not beyond the realm of possibility, but in this situation, it's beyond unlikely. I'm sorry, no. Especially considering the fact that, according to the Quran, okay, yes, Muhammad flew on a winged horse, but that winged horse came from Allah. No one else is allowed to fly. Flying is haram.
And they have flying carpets.
Sorry?
Sorry. Just the whole Arabic myth of the flying carpet.
Yeah. But
Muhammad on his trusty Pegasus.
This is the thing. The Pegasus wasn't even... yes. It's not even but that's the thing. Nothing in the Quran is original.
Well, given the fact that it's Saudi Arabia, it's probably more likely an ass. A winged ass.
They had jinns, so could have been a flying carpet.
Arabian horses, 3 founded the whole bloodline of British racehorses.
I'm sorry, I missed half of that.
I'm saying Arabian horses were famous, and 3 Arabian horses imported into Britain founded the entire bloodline of British racing horses.
True that, yeah. But we get sidetracked again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm noticing that I'm having a little bit of a problem being focused. So I think this is a good time to call it quits.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think we've already exhausted the topic of potato chips as much as we can, and now we're wandering on to other territories.
We did well to get as much out of it as we did.
Well, true that.
There was nothing there.
I mean, yeah, this is the sort of topic where you say, okay, feminists say potato chips are misogynistic. Okay, this is stupid. All agree? Yes, done.
Well, your question is, can women enjoy crunchy chips? Yes.
Yes, they can. And a lot of them actually do.
Done.
A lot of them actually do. Done, yeah. But then feminists come in the way and they say, no, you can't. It's like feminists being upset because of page 3 girls. But isn't it a woman's choice to show themselves like that?
Oops.
Well, no, women have to have a choice, but they shouldn't be allowed to have a choice because my feminism or whatever the fuck.
No, you're allowed a choice as a woman as long as it's pre-decided by the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as long as it's pre-decided by the feminists, you can choose whatever you want.
How about not Sunday the next target? Brilliant, Marcel.
Well, feminists don't like nuts anyway, but maybe next time we'll talk about the hot dogs that plump when you cook them. That's sexist.
Yeah, no, I saw in a cartoon not too long ago. Basically, that's sexist, that's homophobic, that's this, that's. Yeah, you're right. Anything else you wanted to say about it? Or maybe I can find it. There was another one that I found really interesting.
Oh, for fuck's sakes! I've been passing around that fucking cartoon I found on Twitter that was a joke about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. I seen that one too.
Yeah, you saw the one about, oh no, it's Frieza and he has the Dragon Balls and what it is not Dragon
I'm sorry,
Balls.
I'm thinking about something else.
Nut sack dragging the ground.
I was thinking about something else.
I'll send it to you, Modwain. I fucking died laughing when I saw it.
I'm hoping I can find the one that I meant.
This is what a man of your station, of your profession, should be spending his time doing, Modwain.
What?
I'm sorry.
No,
this is what
I'm under the influence now, so never mind.
This is the one that I found bloody fucking brilliant. And let me see if I can share it. Come on. Should be shared. There we go. I found this one fucking brilliant when I found it.
I can't really read it, so if you wouldn't mind.
You can't read it? Oh, I'm sorry. Racist, white supremacist, Nazi, sexist, fascist. And then the other one, second picture. Your words, they are changing me. I'm becoming uber white, sexist, fascist, Nazi, racist, supremacist man. Why do you whimper?
Sort of a Super Saiyan joke, I'm guessing.
Yeah. That's why I thought Saiyan. Because, so why do you whimper? This is what you wanted. But it's unfortunately very true. Because of these fucking idiots, we see a rise in right-wing supremacists, Nazis, etc., etc. We see a rise in
Can I just say something? I came up with a theory about this. I think they're doing it on purpose.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
You see, the problem is this. People in regular society do not like the extremes. People only go to the extremes under threat.
Yeah.
What happens if you want to create, you want to attract people? You need a threat. Well, there aren't any Nazis. So they literally have to create Nazis to build a threat narrative to try and attract people.
Well, but see, John, the problem with that is they're creating more of a threat in the other direction. And chasing,
but they are deluded.
Well, but hang on a second. But here's the thing. They're creating that threat in the other direction and chasing more people to the alt-right than they are to their own side.
Oh, indeed. I didn't say they were intelligent. I'm just saying that's what they think. If you're in an extreme ideology and you go, society is too nice, people couldn't give monkeys about us, how do we get people on our side? You have to create a threat narrative, because that's the only time people will flock to the extremes.
And don't forget, and I hate to having to say this, but wait a second, I have to do this first. Stop.
Oh, you're looking up on my...
Yeah, because I'm looking to find this one, which I will show in a second. But don't forget that if we look at fascism and the Nazis in the Second World War, they also were a reaction to fascism, to Antifa and Bolshevism. And Bolshevism...
And vice versa. It feeds each other. That's the problem. Yeah. It becomes a feedback loop. And that's what I was saying, that the people driving the narrative aren't, they live in academia. They have nothing else to do. So they look at these things and go, how can we get such and such a situation? Oh, I know, we need a threat. So they have to create one.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're going to get a pounding never crosses their mind, because they think they are going to win. After all, Marx told them it was inevitable, despite the fact that 170 years later it never happened.
There you go, Modwain, you found it.
Yeah.
I was about to think. I'm thinking St. Clair's more interested by that than we are.
Not particularly, but it is funny.
Dragon Balls.
Quack!
that would have to be when Frieza hit his old age, because
that quack is only for certain people, by the way.
Well, most men, when they get to a certain age, their balls start dragging the carpet. That's when you have to start worrying about carpet burn on your scrotum.
Well, that raises the question: how old is Frieza?
Because I thought they never really say.
I always thought that Frieza was kind of like a teenager at the start of the series, and then he was like, well, in his 30s during the Frieza saga.
I honestly don't know. If you think about it, they went through Dragon Ball, which was Goku's childhood, and then by the end of that, he was in his mid to late teens. And now, according to the show, he's right around his 40s, I think. So
let's see. He was 18 at the end of Dragon Ball. Pretty sure he was. That would have made him 23 at the beginning of Z. So during the Frieza saga, he would have been about 23 or 24.
Yeah, and I think he's in his early to mid 40s now.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going with. Although the writing is now so bad that I don't even. It's difficult to tell.
Yeah, the funny thing about it is you don't mind the Dragon Ball Super characters so much if you're playing a video game. Like, I've got Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2 and fucking Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I don't mind them so much in those games because it's a completely different story. And for some odd reason, when the people who write the video games do a better fucking job than the people who actually write the show.
That's funny.
I mean, for fuck's sakes, look at how many of the video game exclusive characters are so fucking popular. Like Mira and Toa, aka Franken Smurf and fucking Senora Underboob. And fucking Majin Android 21 from Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Anyway, guys, I'm all teary-eyed and tired, so I'm going to...
Good night, sweet prince.
Yeah. So, yeah. St. Clair, are you still starting to work on your channel?
I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I need to wait until I finish building my new computer, and it might get done on the 9th. It might be a little bit later than that. It depends on money, and it depends on laziness.
Lack thereof, indeed. Well, I know that feeling, which is pretty strong at the moment. Oh, John, when can we see your next video?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I like good questions.
I keep rewriting it because it's too low on the iceberg, to quote Jordan Peterson.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Fucking hell. I can't even talk now. Magnus?
By the way, fucking stop that, would you? You're getting me to do it.
Yeah, well. Hey, but how's your channel going, Magnus? Anything special coming up?
Well, the votes have been cast, and the next chance I get to park and stream, I will be streaming Resident Evil Remastered.
Okay.
So I've got to practice putting my nuts in a vice so I can get some girly shrieks going for the scary parts.
Get a soundboard.
Well, because I don't want to be like eek. I want to be like eek.
Well, get a soundboard.
Well, nah, I don't have a soundboard.
Oh, get one. You can install it yourself. You just download it from the interwebs.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll see if I can get some YouTube starlet that can do girly shrieks to help me out.
Yeah, okay.
Why, I thought you would never ask.
Well,
Well, there
there you go.
you go. Anyway, short story. You want to say something?
Thanks for the stream. It was a fun stream. Although it's pretty sad that we talk about the less crunchy chips and that the newspapers writing on it. I think it's sad times.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for watching, Marcel and Malachite and Square Peg. I'm not sure if you're still there, be honest. Psycho and the High Desert Pioneer. Thank you all for coming, and I hope to see you all next time. This is where we're going to sign off.